this the first double feature?
Yes, it is. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the stream today. We're live here on Entra, the #1 fastest Web3 professional network and the new way to work. So here on Entra, we combine social like LinkedIn, marketplace like Upwork, and communication like Slack. Our goal is to enable anyone from around the world to easily connect and work with people and the resources they need to help them succeed. My name is Miriam Dorset. I'm the founder of Hubor. We build brands and products for artists and community organizations. And today I have the true pleasure of chatting with Caleb, host of Intrapreneurial podcast, and Jaro, correct? Or is it Jaro?
Jaro, close enough.
Jaro, founder of Winfluencer. So how are you both doing? I was just telling them that I'm in New York and feeling the energy out here, but I just wanted to check and see, how are you guys doing? Where are you checking in from today?
Yeah, good. I'm checking in from London, so it's about 10 p.m. right now in London, so nice and quiet. Very nice. Yeah, all good. What about you, Caleb? Where are you?
I am out here in Utah, so mountainous territory of the U.S. is currently 3 o'clock, so it's still nice and bright out. Lovely weather we're having.
I love that. And Caleb, right before we went live, was asking if this is my first double feature. And it is. This is the first time I've ever brought two people together. I've been shooting these like content pieces for a while now and still playing around with the format, the title. I've just been calling it a stream. And I thought it would be cool to bring people together during these. And what a better pair than Caleb. You know, you're a marketing leader. You've worked with some of the largest brands in the outdoor wearable and music industry. You're currently diving into the startup world with direct-to-consumer diamond brand called Arctic Diamond, and serving as their director of marketing there. But you're also doing like this everyday entrepreneur podcast. I was like, everything that you're doing is super dope, and I want you to meet Jaro, who I'm meeting as well, but has an extensive background in startups, front-end skills, astounding. He focuses on functionality, but also looks to optimize it. Right now, working on Winfluencer, which basically takes your YouTube channel to the next level. So let's say if it's spotting with a rising trend on YouTube, you can make sure that you get on board of that trend before anyone else using Winfluencer. It analyzes your competitors' channels to discover which keywords are getting the most views. And I feel like there would be some synergy between you two, so I thought we'd bring you on together. What do you guys think?
Love it.
Yeah, great.
Awesome. So I do like to just kind of check in with time, be respectful. Where are you guys at today? Like, I know we've booked you for a bit, but tell me what's on your mind and your schedule for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm free till whenever is convenient to you. I've got basically some notes I've prepped in terms of what I'd like to talk to you about, which is sort of underutilized tips for YouTube growth that I've kind of discovered working with a couple of YouTubers that have over 1 million subscribers in Italy. So that's kind of what I've got. I think it's around like 15 minutes of stuff, and then just like chatting with you guys and about what Caleb has as well and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of my time frame. What about you, Caleb?
I am just happy to chat. So I am good up until you are ready to hop off, Miriam.
Dope. Yeah. Perfect. So yeah, let's do it. And we see John is in the audience. Hey, John, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you. Please introduce yourself in the chat. Let us know what you're working on.
Miriam, you dropped off, and you are currently sharing your screen. And we lost her.
Hey.
There we go. Yeah. We're back.
Hey, just a few bugs here and there. Can you hear me now and see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what's happening earlier too. So I was introducing John. He's the outreach coordinator for Dugout Dogs NFT, community manager for Pixel Players, and he's a moderator for Chunky Man. He has a plethora of Web3 experience and strong connections to communities he works with. And he plans on creating his own project this year, Q3, sooner if he can secure an investor who shares his vision. Reach out to John here on Entra. Rita's also joined, King Insurance. Sot, good to see you, Sot. We got everybody. The room chat is popping. Introduce yourselves. For those of you guys that are just joining, I am Miriam, and I'm sitting down with Caleb and Jaro. We're going to be talking all things YouTube, podcasting. Feel free to drop in any questions that you have. I'd like to kind of get to know people a little bit by asking, what's on your desk? Do you have anything weird on your desk that's going to give us a little bit of like, you can hold it up and just tell us why you have that at your desk? Like for me, I have some 3-day-old carrots in a salad. And I was actually eating them earlier today because I got so desperate and hungry. Entrepreneurial life, what can I say?
Let's see. So I've got this mic here, and I actually don't do any podcasts, so maybe I should start. Yeah, I'm using the mic, the webcam mic, but I used to record a couple of songs with like guitar and vocals and stuff. So I have the mic for it, and then I basically connected it to my PC, and I never got around to actually using this instead of the webcam mic. So it's still on my desk from like 2 months ago.
Oh, okay, but you're a vocalist. That's cool. I love that. Did you put out any work anywhere we can follow it and check it out?
No, I don't think it was good enough for that. So I just did it kind of for myself. But yeah.
So humble. So humble. That's cool. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, I'm like the king of like desk trinkets. I actually just cleaned off some stuff from my desk, but like I have from Bear World in Yellowstone, I got this like working bear with a laptop.
That's cute.
And it's my thing whenever I travel, I want to get something for my desk. So I have a bunch of just random stuff. I also have this super limited edition pirate coin. That's like, let's see if I can get it out of the light there.
Cool.
So it's like, I need to remember who does it. It's this one that has limited drops. They sell out within like 5 minutes every drop. And on the back, it says, the best things in life aren't things. So, love it.
Nice.
Yeah. And, like 50 other things that I won't, we can have the whole recording of just my stuff on my desk and the story behind it.
I actually have the opposite. When I go on holiday, I try and take something off of my desk and like make it a bit cleaner, just so when I come back, it's
You're smart. You're doing it the right way.
So good. Thanks for playing my little get to know each other kind of thing. That's always awesome. I want to jump into Caleb telling us, so just we're on the same page, your podcast, Intrapreneurship. Intra, what exactly, can you give us a little bit of a brief definition? And because I've never heard of this term. Jaro, have you?
Yeah. I think I have occasionally, but it's definitely not as mainstream as entrepreneurship with an E. So yeah, it'll be interesting to hear what Caleb, what you have to say.
Yeah, and in my own experience, that's what I have experienced. It's been 50% split on people I ask. Most, like 50% have heard the term, 50% have not heard the term. So in its simplest form, it's an entrepreneur inside of an organization, hence intrapreneurship. It really just stems down to allowing employees to act like entrepreneurs inside of an organization where they bring new ideas to the table. They foster innovation within a company. A lot of them may have side hustles that they use to experiment and learn skills and then apply that within an organization. It basically just provides a more stable way of working, but still being able to experiment and build entrepreneur-like skills.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's dope. I like that. I think that's a good way for people to kind of get in there and get started, and for brands to hold on to some talent right? And let people feel like they can still innovate. But so what kind of things do you discuss on the podcast?
Yeah, I bring on, so I mean, target audience is usually just people within their organizations that want to learn ways on how to build their skills, build their entrepreneur type skills, ways for managers to foster that environment as well. So we talk a lot about, we usually go through some career history, just how they got to where they're at, because usually entrepreneurs have multiple points along their career history, multiple jobs. They may bounce around. They may have side hustles. They may be doing various things like that. And then we usually just dive into the skills that they're building, experience at the companies that they work at now, how they, entrepreneurs that inspire them, because most people have entrepreneurs they look up to, even though they are still within an organization. And on the episode that dropped this week, the guest suggested that there are two types of entrepreneurs. You have one that is very much going to be an entrepreneur someday. They are working on their side business, hoping to grow it into their full-time business and become a full-on entrepreneur. And then the other type of entrepreneur are those who are happy working for a company, but they are using their skills to drive that innovation within a company. So those are the ones that probably will never make the full jump to entrepreneurship. And the goal is to let everyone know that that is okay. Not everyone has to make the full jump to entrepreneurship. Not everyone can do that. So it's kind of that careful balance there. So I really liked it when you broke it out that way. I was like, ooh, okay, yeah, this is, and that's who I bring on the podcast, which is super fun because the people I bring on are people that aren't usually in the limelight because they're your kind of just average employee that are doing really cool things. So they're not like the president or the founder, or the VP of marketing that are always on podcasts and shows and highlighted. It's the, entry level to mid-level to just your everyday employee, which is great.
Totally. Now, Hara, so if you're a startup founder, right? Give us a little bit of bio information leading up to this point in your life. And then I'm curious, as a founder, would you ever want an intrapreneur at your organization? Would you encourage this type of a program?
Yeah, so to be honest, I think I kind of feel like I would be an intrapreneur if I had the opportunity. So I do work in terms of contracting, and I have a job. So I do that outside being a founder. So I'm not full time on my business. I'm going full time in I think a couple of weeks. So I hope my employer isn't watching this. But basically, there's and the reason I'm doing that is mainly because there is no intrapreneurship opportunity. It's basically because I'm just a pair of hands and I'm doing the work. I'm a programmer, and there is no way that I can be of any more value add than just the bare skills that I'm hired to do. And that's a shame for them because I can add a lot more value than that. And so I'm doing that outside of the company. So yeah, that resonates a lot with me. What you said, Caleb, that's really kind of up my street. So that sounds really interesting. I'll definitely give it a listen. But yeah, in terms of was that from me or no? Okay, I thought that was like a fire alarm or something. Okay, yeah. But yeah, either way, there's basically I'm a software developer. I've done a couple of startups before this that didn't go anywhere. Now I'm working on Winfluencer, which is a tool for YouTubers to kind of see trends and get new ideas, kind of grow their channel. That's the idea of it. And yeah, that's really me. That's kind of what I'm doing.
So I had no idea that you were doing this as a side hustle. Now, in your experience, when Winfluencer is big, obviously I'm sure you have a nice big vision, would you have an intrapreneurship program at your company?
Absolutely. I mean, it sounds like an amazing way to keep the kind of people that do great things. I feel like if you incentivize people the right way, like I would have stayed. It's just the incentives have to be aligned, and there has to be room for an exponential or at least kind of balanced growth in terms of value add versus what you get paid. And I feel like entrepreneurial kind of people are really driven by that uncapped opportunity, as opposed to kind of being in a box. So that's kind of how I feel. So I would definitely try and encourage that. And I feel like that would kind of stop the brain drain of everybody who's going to do something great. I could kind of keep them in my company and make them do great things, and they're fulfilled. And I'm obviously getting the benefit of having them there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to add on to that point, because I had in episode 10, I had the founder of the Grounded company. His name is Nick Staggy. He's super popular on LinkedIn. But he was an entrepreneur, grew through these big companies like GoPro and Zoomies, and decided to make the jump to entrepreneurship. And his whole vision on entrepreneurs is he wants a company full of entrepreneurs, and on Fridays is side hustle day, meaning he walks through and goes to people's desks and is like, how can I help you with your side hustle, with your side business? And I'm like, yes, thank you. Like, that is so awesome to have the ability to work on something on the side that is encouraged by leadership, by the owner of this agency. And he takes the approach of, he's like, listen, a lot of these people will hit their ceiling in maybe 2 years, and I don't expect them to be at the company in 2 years because they've moved on to bigger and better things, and that's okay. Like, it's not, I am restricting you to only what you can do here, and you will do what I say, et cetera, but it's very much that long-term vision of that person as a person and in their full career that then is like, let me help you get to that next level, and then when you're at that next level, I will vouch for you. I will do whatever you need to, so that helps progress in that career. So I feel like right to what you were saying, Jaro, like, is fantastic. Like, there are organizations that are like where you currently work out, where it's like, nope, this is what you're going to do. That's it. And then there are others that are like the organization that you would hope to create with Winfluencer, that I feel like is the organization of the future.
Yeah, agreed. I feel like so I work at like a big Fortune 500 company, and then I'm doing some contracts with some startups for programming. And I definitely see that in terms of what you're saying, smaller companies are definitely much more kind of open to that sort of thing. So I feel that way definitely in terms of working with different managers and different people that I work with smaller companies. They do seem a lot more laid back and kind of more, there's more opportunity for the sort of wearing all the hats and kind of adding value everywhere.
Totally. For those that are just joining, we're chatting with Caleb. He is the host of a podcast called Everyday Intrapreneurs, where he chats with people who have the skills, abilities, and qualities of entrepreneurs, but they use them within an organization. And we're also joined by founder of Winfluencer. We were talking, Jaro Vorobey, and we were talking about how actually he would consider himself an entrepreneur, but he's building Winfluencer. It is a powerful tool for your YouTube channel. It takes it to the next level. It spots rising trends on YouTube, so you can get on board of them before anyone else. It analyzes your competitors' channels to discover which keywords are generating the most views. And I think that's a good segue into talking a little bit about these entrepreneurs, these creatives, the freelancers, whatever, content creators. YouTube is hot. I mean, there's obviously competitors everywhere now, but podcasting, you could turn it into a YouTube. You know, StreamYard, here on track. Just, I'm sure, just as long as you, Jaro, of competitors to, or like people that are doing this YouTube stuff. It's just creating content, everything. TikTok's hot. But you're doing something really interesting. Can we dive into seeing the platform? I don't know if you have time to do a demo, or you can kind of walk us through this technology. I just started my YouTube channel. I'm very curious to see how I should be using this Winfluencer platform. And I know you have some tips to share with us as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds good. Yeah, sure. So I can give you a quick overview. Let me do that. I have a bit of a wide screen, so I don't know if it will be.
Looks dope. Yeah, and for those of you guys that are
visible?
watching, click the box in the bottom right, and it'll make it larger for you. Can you hear us anymore, Jaro?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. So can you see my screen? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
Look
cool.
at
So
that background.
yeah,
So
thank you. Yeah. So basically, this is kind of a couple of the things the tool does, but basically we are looking at trending topics calculated every day, and the way a trend is kind of defined is some words or like sentences, single words that are basically performing better than the channel average of all the channels that are putting out that kind of content. And so if we click on one of them, it'll load up some of the videos that are performing really well. And basically this is kind of the purpose of this section is to kind of have a brainstorm tool that you can merge with your niche that you're making videos on and kind of figure out how you can do trend jacking, which is kind of going on specific trends and using them to your advantage, but you still retain the kind of specificity of your niche. So this is what you use for that. We've got a kind of keyword research tool. This is quite recent, so new addition. But basically, if we wanted to be like, let's say, grow on YouTube, we can find the keywords. And again, these are kind of ranked on performance compared to the channel's average. So we're always trying to find basically that that kind of gain in the difference between what the keywords are performing on average or compared to the people that are making them, and how you can kind of get more views than you would normally. And also you can see this for like new ideas and stuff like that. So that if we go and kind of look through, we could see kind of specific titles that that people use, like let's say grow YouTube channel with Google Ads. So maybe if you make videos about on like how you can grow on YouTube, you should probably look into people Googling a lot or YouTubing, YouTube search, using YouTube search to look for this kind of title. So it's kind of a discovery tool for topics in your area, and you can find basically topics that are trending and doing better than average.
Can I ask questions as you're doing this demo?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is dope, first of all. Where is this my specific channel that it's doing keyword research on, or this is how I use Winfluencer?
Yeah, this is how you use it. So you would put in any title that you are interested in. So if you were, let's say, I know you talk a lot about sustainability. So let's see, we can find some keywords to do with that topic. So you can basically use this for specific title research. So the way I kind of would use it is just putting in a YouTube video title that you make and figuring out what people are looking for that is similar to that and it is performing well.
Okay.
For example,
Caleb, what do you think about this, dude?
This is sweet.
Right?
Yeah,
like I'm like, sign me up. What is the cost on this?
Oh,
what was that, sorry?
Caleb.
well, I was gonna say,
I'm not to take my money already.
I was like, it says on the website there's a free plan that is only lasting until the 5th. So
yeah. So it's basically $19 is the cost of it at the moment. Yeah.
Okay.
Per month.
Yeah.
Got it. Excellent.
Yeah, like when looking at this tool, so I am obviously I've recorded all my podcasts. Most of them are on video as well. I just have been too lazy to edit together videos to put on YouTube. But I'm turning Intrapreneurship into something a little bit bigger here soon. So this is super awesome. And I probably will be using video a lot more, knowing that this exists.
Yeah, definitely. Great. And you can also have a look at like, so let's say if we were to look for like Joe Rogan, so I know they share like their podcast on YouTube, right? So let me find it. Was it?
Johnny Depp.
They are
Johnny Depp and or her defamation.
So let's say we go to his channel, we can kind of analyze it quickly. And basically what I would do if you decide to kind of go for YouTube, you can analyze people that have podcasts and kind of post them on YouTube, and you can figure out what titles are kind of specifically performing well for them. So in terms of kind of naming, and I don't, maybe Joe Rogan is not an amazing example because all of the episodes are named the same, but definitely I would look into kind of how different podcasts market themselves and figure out like what specific titles or keywords that they use to kind of rank better than just like a title. I know Joe Rogan kind of has his own brand, so I think he can definitely do that. But
well, one thing I noticed in that word cloud is how many keywords are the guests. So like it matters what guests you have on there from a podcast perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, we kind of the demo. So that's just one tab. What are these other things?
So we've got the keyword research. We've got the competitor finder. So this is I'm logged in as my channel. So I stopped making videos about 5 years ago, but I have a skateboarding channel. It's got like a couple thousand subscribers. And so this is kind of a competitor finder for my channel. So it finds all the kinds of similar competitors and similar channels that make videos about skateboarding. And so I then can kind of add them to my competitors list. And if I then go to the list, I can select a few and we can kind of analyze them, and I can select my own channel as well here at the end, and we can analyze all those channels and figure out what the common patterns are and what kind of underutilized keywords we have for each channel. So here we can have, let's say, the common words. There'll probably be not that many because we've selected all of the channels. So if we remove a couple, there's just me and this other guy. These are the kind of common, let me reload the page. Actually, I think we have this thing is a little bit stuck. There we go. But yeah, basically we have like the common words for all the channels, and and we can see kind of what words we're utilizing compared to the other channels. So let's say setup. So if we look at this word, we can see that I don't know if you can read that, but basically it says there's 2,000 views for the channel called Skate Therapy and 25,000 views for Skate Empire, which is my channel. And then we have a percentage of total views there at the end. So I've got 8% of my total views coming from the word setup, and he's got 0.08. So if I was Skate Therapy and I was looking at this, I was like, seems like there's an opportunity there to kind of expand into something that I'm already doing, but perhaps it could take up kind of more of an important part in my video strategy. So basically this is the use for this. You kind of figure out what other people are doing and figure out if there's any specific keywords. A lot of them are going to be like niche related. So these are going to be skateboarding, tricks, things like that. But as the setup one or things like that, we can find keywords that basically are differentiators, and you can see which ones are performing better than the other ones, basically. Yeah.
Does this tool take into account YouTube Shorts?
Yes, it does. But I'm working on basically doing that as a separate thing. Mainly because they just rank differently and they have different viewership and everything. So I'm basically working on separating that out.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier that you're going to be leaving your full-time job to work on this, which I'm not surprised. Now that I've seen this demo, I'm like, yeah, totally 100. But I'm curious why you feel like it's the time for you to make that move.
Yeah, sure. Let me stop the share. There we go. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Yep. Great. So I'm actually working multiple kind of freelancing things as well with other smaller companies. So I have kind of the ability to work a bit less than I would normally. So maybe like 25, 30 hours a week instead of kind of a full 40 or 50 hours a week that you do at big companies. So I feel like with that combination of Winfluencer and my kind of freelancing stuff that I'm doing, I can afford to leave my day job. I think that the time is now, mainly because I've pretty much done 1 year at this company. So my CV it's kind of like an insurance policy on my CV, in the sense that I'm not leaving like midway like through a year or whatever, and I'm not like an unstable employee or whatever. So I guess I've waited this long mainly for that. So mainly for like having the CV be bulletproof, which is I guess more conservative than most people would consider, but that's kind of how I felt about it. I want to take a risk, but I want to be kind of not too aggressive with it. So that's kind of why now is the reason. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very, very cool. And then are you going to add TikTok to this? Because I feel like TikTok is like almost hotter than YouTube now. Right?
It is. So I have mixed feelings on TikTok. I was actually looking at an acquisition of a small company that does this for TikTok. It didn't work out in the end, but I was definitely interested, and the numbers look like they're quite favorable for these kinds of tools for TikTok. So my response is this. I think YouTube is the best platform in terms of monetization and retention. So I think if you follow somebody on YouTube, out of all the platforms, you're most likely to engage with them if you follow them through YouTube. I feel like TikTok is great for exposure. So you can get famous quickly on TikTok, but conversion rates and like just general people like knowing who you are and following you, I think it's less good compared to YouTube. So I'm looking into it. I feel because it's just basically me, and I occasionally hire a contractor to do some of the programming with me. We have kind of limited hands to do the work. So for now, I'm not doing the TikTok thing, but I think eventually I will. I think it makes sense to do that eventually. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just give background for the question is because not maybe like for me, like producing the content on YouTube, but because people are using TikTok for search at more, I think it was last year, more people searched on TikTok than did on Google.
Really? I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah. So I want to know what people are searching on TikTok so that I can produce content on YouTube.
Yeah, that's
you know
good.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's doable. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Caleb. I just kind of took it another place for a minute.
No, it's
But
good.
isn't
It's
this
good.
really-
I can confirm. I just Googled it, and yeah, it
That is
outranks
true,
Google top spot.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
I
wonder
never
how
knew that.
Google feels about that. Kind of wild. Kind of crazy. I always tell my intern team when they come and we're teaching them about research and blah, 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 I'm like, guys, Google's just one search engine. Like, open your mind. Asia doesn't even really use that, like, because there's so many other search engines that people use to find out information, and it just narrows your view. If you're just looking through one thing, you've got to really think about that, in my personal opinion. So I'm curious, like, what kind of things are you seeing yourself using something like this for, Caleb? Like, would you use this to support the guests that you're having on to ask interesting questions? Would you do this to talk about, like, try to figure out who to target for your Intrapreneurship podcast, like your listeners? Like, where do you see something, a tool like this being beneficial to you?
I think, as I start to produce video content, I mean, I have it, I just need to publish it. I feel like obviously I'll use a tool like this just to figure out how to publish it in terms of keywords. Like, I'm just my marketing background, I love keywords just in general, keyword snob over here. So I feel like that will impact how I'd use a tool like this. I love what you said though of finding interesting topics to talk about, because one of the things I'm working on right now is a website for everyday entrepreneurs and having all the show notes there so it can, be searchable. It's not currently live, so don't go to that website. But with the show notes, then I can add keywords of things that we talk about. And so having a tool like this where, to your point, there are more than one search engine. So if you're using YouTube, which I'm sure is very, very high in terms of just searching video, it will help in terms of just discovery of the podcast, of that specific episode. So you saying that has now sparked all these ideas. I'm like, ooh, I can use it this way and this way. So, I mean, I just signed up for the platform just with my own personal YouTube account, just for the keyword piece. And it's interesting. Like, I type in intrapreneur and there's a keyword that is intrapreneur bear that is up 65% and has 902,000 monthly views. So I'm like, okay, let me go to YouTube and figure out what intrapreneur bear is.
I am very curious as well. But seeing that we're both looking into I'm currently doing content on YouTube. Caleb's going to get in there. What are some of the tips that give us the insider info
Yeah, sure. I'll give you the quick version. So basically, there's a couple of things I've noticed working with these kind of big creators and a couple of smaller ones. There's some of the things that people focus on. They want to grow their channel and they want to make good content. And I think I'm kind of like here. I'm basically assuming that the content is good and like you can hear the audio and like the thumbnail is not ridiculous and like everything like that. So basically, these are kind of some of the underutilized things. So a lot of people don't actually check their analytics and they don't like look at their previous successes to inspire their future ideas. So if you're looking at competitors and things like that, like my tool is I'm happy to vouch for it. But if you want to use that, but you're not looking at your own videos, I'd say start there. Forget what I'm doing, like start on what you have done that is good. Like that's the place where I would go. You're not going to find any value in doing that for others because you need to be able to intersect that with what is already working for you. So first, you should know your analytics like inside out, and then use that to drive what you make. Go for it.
Okay, thank you. Okay. How often should I be looking at my analytics, to be honest with you? I don't even know where they are.
Okay, so if you go to YouTube Studio, you Google that, then you can go to it. You can check all the videos that you've posted. It will show you basically all the, what you really want to look at is CTR and retention. So average view duration.
Okay. Now, what if, because now that you mentioned that, I've been there before. I've looked at those numbers, but I'm not looking at them regularly. Now, what if it's an outlier? One of them is just crazy big. Maybe it's because that person actually shared the YouTube video that we did.
That's possible. You can look at the traffic sources for the video. So it will show you whether it's search, whether it's featured, whether it's outside YouTube sources. You can see all of that. Yeah. So you can kind of narrow it down. You can, obviously it's very hard to say exactly why, but if you have two popular videos, like I watched your episode with, I forgot the name was, April, I think it was. April, sorry. Yeah. So it was a great episode. Yeah, I'm definitely using like some of those tips for Twitter, but basically, I think if you see that like in her videos, she does like NFT videos, two of her most popular ones are like the same kind of video. So that's what I would be like, ooh, bells are ringing. Like this video is doing well. Do more. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So yeah, if you see patterns, anything like that, that's the first thing. Let's see. Yeah, so that's one. Replying and reading comments. A lot of people like, to be fair, like my channel's been kind of dormant for like 5 years. It's still up there because it's monetized, so I'm happy for it to be up. But I don't reply to any of the comments. But reading through my comments occasionally, I feel like there's some amazing ideas in there. Like, I think people undervalue comments, especially once you have more than you can look at, which I think around a couple thousand subscribers is when you either have to check them all the time or you just don't. And there's incredible ideas in there. And people are like, oh, what if you combine this with this other thing this other YouTuber does, and then you'd have this? Some other ideas come from the people that watch your channel. So definitely like a source of inspiration. Let's see. Basically, this is you can see on analytics, you can see which videos your video was suggested next to. And so you can see what YouTube thinks your content is similar to, and if it actually is or it isn't. And if it's not, that's a big sign that you should be kind of trying to make YouTube understand what your content is through descriptions, titles, everything like that. If you're seeing videos that are similar, that's great, and figure out what videos it's similar to, and you can then go and make those exact videos and replace the other creator with yourself. So YouTube can recommend your own videos like on your videos, and that's more of a like strong click-through rate if you're like binging one creator. So you could definitely go and just nick all of those ideas. Nick, that's like an English way of saying steal. Steal all of those ideas from the people that are then recommending your channel on the featured section. And this is actually what we use on Winfluencer to find the competitors. So we basically go through all the suggested videos, and we figure out who is suggested next to you and who you are suggested next to figure out who the competitors are. So that's number 3. And then we've got number 4 is like just a tactical tip, but like attention resetters. So basically all the highest level YouTubers have something happen every like 4 seconds. Camera cut, audio clip, sound effect, something like that. That's for like really strong engagement. I know you guys do like long form content, so that's not really like a thing. But what is a thing, if I were to apply it to like this situation, is kind of having best bits or whatever, like having a shorter version of the content and having that be kind of just the highlights. That works great. You just have the highlights, the hits, people watch the whole thing, you have great retention. So that's kind of one way of using this in terms of like long form content. Another way of like, I think I've not seen this often, but I think it might work, is kind of long form content just split up and have I know a channel that does this, I forget their name now, but basically have like a timeline on the left and you just have bullet points of everything that's happening and what you're talking about, and like a kind of a map for people to just look at and see what's going on. I think that works quite well, especially if you have things that haven't come up yet, but you can use that to inspire, like kind of hook people into continue to watch, because you're like, oh, they're going to get to this bit next, and I'm curious what they have to say about this topic. So that's kind of attention resetters, and commenting. Basically, leaving comments on other people's channels is like a must. And YouTube does do a lot of recommended like stuff, so it's fine if you don't. But if you're a smaller channel, like I did with mine, I grew it by a couple hundred subscribers in like a month, just because I set the bell to kind of notify me of all of my competitors' videos, like bigger channels in my niche, like skateboarding. And so I would just be the first one to comment. I'd leave like a banging comment, like I'd watch the video on 2x and I'd leave like a relevant comment that made sense. It was funny or something like that. And then I'd just have people like the comment, and you can use your channel title as a tactic. So instead of just having your name, you can just say like your name dash and what you do. And it's immediately clear when somebody reads your comment that you're a YouTuber. So if you're like Miriam, like I make videos on art and sustainability, right? Or I talk to entrepreneurs. This immediately tells you, oh, that's a YouTuber. That's not some guy who just, his surname is I talk with entrepreneurs, right? So it's going to be basically a driver for people to your channel. Number 6 is kind of where Winfluencer fits in, which is other people's metrics. So once you've covered all of those, next step is other people's metrics. So figure out what they're doing, figure out the trends, figure out the titles, thumbnails, the kind of content that people are doing. And basically just once you've reached your kind of local maximum with all the other ones, this is where you go next. You're like, okay, what's the world look like outside my bubble? And where can I kind of take in different ideas? So yeah, that's a quick rundown.
So good.
I love that commenting piece. That's like taking the LinkedIn strategy and applying it to YouTube.
Yeah. Caleb, are you familiar with most of these tips?
No, I am now.
Okay, good.
I mean, when I was at Gibson, the guitar company, they're huge on YouTube. They have full on series, things like that. And it was very much just a publish and wait game where like they didn't have a keyword strategy. They didn't, employ tools like this to look at, okay, what is Fender doing? Like, what are they doing on their YouTube channel? Things like that. And so like just hearing all those tips, I'm like, man, we're missing out on so much when I was over there. Because these types of strategies, I feel like, are just good for growth of any type. Like they're just good tips for advice on growing. So
100%. Yeah, I agree with you. This has been very beneficial to me. Thank you so much. For those that are just joining, first of all, we're streaming here on Entre, the #1 fastest growing Web3 professional network and the new way to work. So here on Entre, you get a combination of social like LinkedIn, marketplace like Upwork, and communication like Slack. The goal is to enable anyone from around the world to easily connect and work with people and the resources they need to help them succeed. My name's Miriam, and I've been chatting with Caleb, host of Everyday Intrapreneurs podcast, and Jaro, the founder of Winfluencer, about all things content creation, startups, how do you build YouTube, how do you create a podcast. We didn't get too much into the podcast. We have a few more minutes left. I want to get some tips from you, Caleb. You just started your own podcast. I'm looking at putting some content together for my podcast. Like, what are some things that you can share with those that are watching this back and want to follow in the footsteps?
Yeah, I think first thing is it is a lot simpler to start a podcast than most people realize. You can do it for free. You don't need any budget to do it. The biggest thing is you want to have a topic you're going to talk about, and you want to have a platform that hosts and distributes your podcast. And so that's where some people get confused, is just, okay, what platform do I use to host it? How do I get it to Spotify and iTunes and all these platforms where people are listening? And it's just finding a good hosting platform. I use one called Podbean. The link I put in the chat here on Entra. That's like my page. It just has all the episodes, and you can click on the icons of where it's distributed. To be honest, I haven't been super impressed with that, but I signed up for a year, so I'm just going to use it for a year. There are free ones. This one was a paid one to run it. There are free ones such as Anchor.fm. That's super popular. I think Gary V's team uses that one too. So that one's free. It distributes it very well. It's easy to use. I actually use that for another podcast I host called Discovering Creators, which is a DSO creator podcast. And that platform is just super easy to use, and it's free. Like, just go the free route first to try it out. I'm a huge fan of just starting, and then you can figure out how to make it better along the way. Like this episode that dropped this week is the first time that I've added music to my podcast in like the intro and like in the outro, and like actually had an intro and outro. I didn't start with that. So you can improve and iterate along the way. I read some statistic that was like 90% of podcasts don't make it past episode 10. So if you are able to make it past episode 10, you're beating 90% of podcasts. And I think that's why it's important to find a topic that you enjoy talking about, because then it won't feel like something you have to do every week, which I think is super important. Once you have that topic, once you find the platform, you can record just on Skype or here on Entra. You can record that as well, just for recording, and then you just upload. A friend of mine hosts a podcast. He's on episode like 45. He just records it on Skype and then exports and uploads it directly to YouTube and his hosting platform, and doesn't do any editing. You don't have to do any editing, and it's still fine. I am a perfectionist, and so I have to do editing just for my own sanity. There's a really cool program called Descript, which you can edit via text your audio. So it's like it transcribes it automatically, and you just like edit the text and it'll edit out that audio. So it's amazing. It's awesome. There's a free trial of like 3 or 4 hours, and then you have to pay for it. But it's an amazing tool. I love it. And then last but not least, in terms of tips for podcasts, is the success of your podcast depends on who you have on it. So unless you yourself are a very popular creator and have a lot of followers that will listen to you, it all depends on who you have on it and them sharing it. I always like to make it known to my guests. There's no commitment to share it, but I'm very appreciative when they do. And my most successful ones are the ones who believe in the podcast and post about it a few different times. So there are many ways you can promote your podcast, but I think one of the most authentic ways to do it is through the guests that you have on it.
100. Those are such great tips. Thank you for sharing all of that. I'm really excited to sign up. I've got it tabbed, and I had no idea anything about Intrapreneurs, and I think for sure I want to adopt some sort of intrapreneur strategy at my brand starting today. like yes, because I want to keep the talent. You know, like I can't imagine Hara's like dipping out from his brand. Imagine if they had just capitalized on the opportunity. And even my own situations, I can think back, like literally why I started my writing was partially, I think, because of some of the things that you're discussing on the podcast. Who are some of the largest brands, Caleb, that you know where entrepreneurs or people that are intrapreneurs, or they're not ready to make that jump to full-time entrepreneurship? Where should they be going? Who's investing in the talent?
Ooh. That is a very good question. I would say this is very localized, but I think it's still important for people to follow. A lot of the creative agencies here in Utah have that mentality of entrepreneurs. The Grounded Company is one that I talked about. Another one is called Set Fire Creative. I'm thinking of guests I've had on and the companies they work for, because that's usually a good tell of, what it's like.
Right.
There's also a pretty big company. Actually, I read this in a book that was actually about entrepreneurship, and they mentioned intrapreneurship, which is really weird. But Intuit, which is like the financial platform, there's a whole case study on this whole different department of the company was created out of entrepreneurs, because someone had an idea and they were like, okay, go build it out. And it is one of the most successful areas of their business that grew, millions of dollars of new business, because they had a team of entrepreneurs that were building on this concept and were given the freedom to just work. So
Yeah.
I think it's hard because not a lot of companies talk openly about that. So it's hard to know who actually has a good, environment of entrepreneurship within the company. But I think if you just look at all of the titles of my episodes, all have the company that the guest works for. And then you can, extrapolate from there on, some good companies to work for sure.
Okay, I have an idea.
Yeah.
And Miriam, you also let me know what you think. So what if you created, as a monetization structure for your podcast, you could have a mailing list with all the companies, like a weekly email with 5 companies that are doing entrepreneurial things. And you send that out. You have a HR bonus for any hires. So you basically have an affiliate link to the company. Anybody who gets hired, you're getting $20K. So that's a great way of affiliate marketing. So that's one monetization way. And then how do you find the companies? So my idea for that would be, I would write a scraper to find them from Glassdoor or the review sites. If you just look for the word like entrepreneur or growth ability or I don't know, openness, just sort them by stars, and you can probably find which companies. And then contact those companies, and you can be like, hey, do you have a referral bonus or whatever? I will get people into your door. And I think that could make millions. So there you go. So if you're interested in that, I'm happy to help. But yeah.
I would
love it.
I would like to get on that bonus as well. And I have ideas as well, Caleb. I can contribute. I would look at the brands that the ones that are doing, Northwestern Mutual, for example, has an accelerator program, where they invest in startups. So all of these enterprise companies who have these accelerator programs, or they're funding tech stars. You see all the different tech stars, they have corporate sponsors. I bet those brands have maybe friendly entrepreneurship mentality.
Yeah, I love it. That's actually super timely, because like I said, I'm building out a website here. I'm building out, the newsletter. Actually, the first room I ever attended on Entra was with, was it Swapstack or Substack, the advertising and Substack. I'm like, okay, this is my time to use this from way back, that room that we had. So this is fantastic.
No, I was just thinking that. I was like, if you want to do that referral, I would connect you with Jake. Jake can make it happen. He probably has scripts that he reaches out to companies to get the referral, the affiliate link. He'll plug it right into Substack, to Swapstack for you. And then you could use Substack to monetize. We literally, us three, just right now, I think we just literally blew it up. I don't even know. I feel very good about this.
This is why this had to happen. This double feature wouldn't have happened otherwise. Yo.
It's all about the double feature. Guys, we have been so, I don't know. I'm trying to figure my script here, but I'm very appreciative of y'all's time. And I'm sure everyone who's watched this, I'm saying for all of us collectively now, like, we appreciate you guys coming on and chatting with us, sharing what you're working on. If people have more questions, how can they get in touch with you?
Go ahead, Jaro. We're both too polite to let the other one, or to go first. You know, got to let the other one.
Wait, I'm on LinkedIn. I can actually link to that in the chat, so let me do that. That's probably the best place to reach me. Yeah.
And me, I mean, we're hosting this here on Entre. I am very active on Entre all the time, maybe a little bit too much. And also LinkedIn, I'm also very active. Also, link is in the chat too. But yeah, those are my two most active platforms, Entre and LinkedIn. And I connect with everyone. If you send me a connection request, I'll accept it. And if you send me a DM, I'll respond. Just please don't DM me with the sales pitch, because then I'll respond with something that I think is funny that you may not think is very funny. So
Love it. Thanks, guys. This has been great. Thanks for watching, tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, share if you want to. No pressure. Actually, I actually think you should go through your content very extremely, if I had it the other way. But yep. For those of you just popping in, we're wrapping up, so you have to wait till this recording comes out on my YouTube channel. Thanks so much for joining. Bye.
thanks, Miriam.
Thank you.